It's no secret that whenever you're playing PUBG, it's about trying to mitigate as many of the variables and make sure that you're maximizing your risk and returns. And in comp, good teams navigate those in different ways to make sure that they're consistently climbing the leaderboard. In Day 6, Game number 3 of PCS7 Americas, the circle was as Los Leones focused as you could possibly get. The previous circles, though, just kept baiting down to the south, and most of the teams went to the outskirts or southern hills. But as we're going to see, a massive amount of problems and a death funnel for players that are trying to approach from the south. This time, I want to take a more macro look at an earlier set of choices and the impacts throughout the round for two specific teams. We're going to be following 22 and Luminosity. Looking at how they both drop, it's a base start from 22 in San Martin and Luminosity dropping in Puerto. With the circles and how they first appear, it's no surprise that 22 is going to be wrapping in from the north and LG is going to be coming in from the south. Our first major comparison of choices comes in about 10 minutes. This is going to be what dictates the livelihood of both of these teams for the remainder of the game. 22 slips past EU United, but that's going to force them right onto the northern edge of Los Leones. Looking at this circle, a big chunk of it is Los Leones, and 22 leaning on a riskier side, hoping that maybe the circle will go Leones. LG is running a 2-2 split on a more standard choice. Bing Bang Boom even realizes the potential power of LG's split and pounces on one of the duos, eliminating it. 22 knows Los Leones circle methodology and quickly moves near the construction site, also near the soccer field, where that open area of the soccer field means the fact that the circles tend to pull that direction. LG, now having lost 2, on the hopes of a southern shift, are going to have to gather and move into a more defensive position in the mines. Moving to the mines creates a new set of problems for LG, though. While it does provide safety from the 50-plus players that are still up, 22 does get a very powerful late-game position. Kills are not going to be easy to get. They're going to be able to provide harassment from this, but as more and more teams are going to move into Los Leones, they're going to be closer to the knocks and very capable of picking up the kill points for themselves. It's two complete different sides of a coin due to how Circle 3 popped. That were a complete damage control game for LG, while 22 is in one of the best positions in the game. As the game progresses, LG is just having to fight their way and navigate through so many teams in the death funnel that's developing around them. With northern shift upon northern shift, all those teams that had leaned into the southern hills are now having to move along a similar pathing, and that's going to cost Kurt his life in a 3-way firefight, but does let Alo stay alive. Opposite siding on this, the circles have stayed very focused on construction and soccer field, meaning the true power of 22's spot is just getting revealed every circle. Now solo Alo has been bumping up against the Rumblers, and with the way that the circle has been moving, he decides to opt into a much more eastern strategy. He's going to wrap around, and while that does get him away from the Rumblers, the compression of teams in Los Leones means the fact that instead he's now moving into Synergy sightlines. He at least manages to sneak his way into the circle before being spotted by Synergy's Danny. Now 31 alive in a crazy small circle means that this is going to have to be firefights from here on out. 22 have vision and harassment control, still no kills. Meanwhile, close range combat king Alo, shotgun in hand, he has to run meters away from Synergy while healing inside of smoke, clinging to life until he finds some path to cover while still being surrounded. Moving into Circle 7, Alo knows he has nowhere left to hide. He knows that he's being hunted and it is just a matter of time. As we shift from Circle 7 into 8, the king and throne of this circle is going to be 22's position. Still, the kills are hard to confirm, but don't think that damage isn't being dealt. This is where the crux of good positioning comes in. While 22 is exerting more and more control over the circle, and the lower ground advantages that SG had, they can't even move forward, which means that neither can Alo, that's going to be stuck behind them. He refuses to go quietly though, and with his last breath stabs at those who are going to deny him the circle, knocking Synergy's Binya as the blue takes down Alo. The reason Alo decides to die to blue is to deny even 1 point to Synergy, as we have no idea how these next couple of games are going to go down. From here on out, it's 22 shooting fish in a barrel. The weaknesses of not having good vision on those longer range fight is now negated as vision becomes paramount and they can look down and spot every single person that's moving. The game is going to continue forth with 22 unsurprisingly getting the victory. These stories show the differences in two different scenarios. You often hear teams talk about the importance of good rotations and keeping 4 up until the late game. It's a night and day in-game difference whenever we look at 22 and Luminosity. Post-game, it's really easy to armchair general, but LG had a good position if the circle went south. That's the risk-reward decision-making that IGLs have to make so many times over. 2022 has been a wild ride for the Americas region. We've had EU United and Sonics bouncing events between themselves. We even have the rise of Latin America with more teams like 22 and Synergy fighting for PGC spots. And yes, while Americas is done, it is just moving to the climax as we have PGC on the horizon, and you know you do not want to miss it. So make sure that you tune in November. But until then, I'll see you on the battlefield.